and welcome to Studio 3A. I'm Rory Atwood. This is Anna Hagler, Anna Bundy Hagler.
That's me. Hi, y'all.
And we're doing something new, season 2. We're switching it up a little bit.
I can't believe we're in our second season.
I know, we're so old and mature now.
Live so much life.
I know. People should come to us for advice. We should become pastors, and they come to us for our pastoral wisdom.
I think so.
The fact that it's a laugh line that people would come to us for our pastoral wisdom is maybe a flaw in our career choices.
Maybe.
If you like what you see, season 2, our fresh faces, got a little glow up. Leave a comment, a like, subscribe, share, all sorts of things people can do.
All sorts of things, absolutely.
I'm afraid of something that I need to get off my chest.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm afraid Chappell Roan's a little overextended.
Ooh, okay, say more.
She shared that she got diagnosed with depression.
I didn't see that. That
yeah,
makes sense.
which is maybe something. I mean, it's good to claim it, but maybe it's something. Part of the problem. You don't need to broadcast everything.
Yeah.
And she's just doing a lot of interviews, and people are nitpicking everything that she says.
They're like, I'm afraid we're in this stage where we're like pledging allegiance to humans.
Yeah.
Like if we like one thing about them, we're like all in, and so then the moment that they do something that we like don't like or feel uncomfy with, it's like I don't know, can't like her anymore.
Yes, you can like someone's songs and music and not agree with what they say about how to vote. People got mad at Taylor Swift just for saying that she was going to support one candidate. And if you actually read what she said everyone should make up their own mind.
Yeah.
Said, I'm voting for this person for these reasons, particularly to me about AI issues.
Right.
And, it's just like, let people be.
Yeah.
You don't have to fall into like a cult of personality.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
So just let Chappell be.
Yeah, let her be.
Yeah, and maybe she should stop doing interviews because people will stop nitpicking the things that she's saying.
Yeah. Also, maybe our lives shouldn't be so public.
Yes, but she doesn't need the press.
Not according to the TikToks I've seen of her concerts.
Yeah, exactly. Her music's great. I mean, let me say, this is a pro Chappell Roan show. As if you watched season 1, you saw me defend her earlier on in her fame. Yeah. Have you come around a little bit on her music? We're stopping.
Okay.
So we're talking today about fear.
We are talking about fear, and because we're now like more topic oriented than like scripture oriented, when we decided to talk about fear, I went to the TikTok because that's what I do. And I found this video that just made me like giggle. And she talks about her irrational question mark fears. Okay. So we're going to let that set the stage for our
conversation.
Fears. Yeah.
My notes in my notes app of my irrational question mark fears. There's a lot of them. I think most of these are from like movies or TV shows also. So number 1, we have getting bed bugs. No explanation needed. Number 2, going blind and deaf at the same time.
Okay, so I cut it off there because like she goes through the whole thing. First of all, that voice filter gets me every time. If there's a video on TikTok with it, I will watch it.
When they do the dogs with that voice, I just think it's hilarious.
It is so good.
Yeah.
But about this, I love the like irrational question mark fears because it's like I know these are irrational, but even when I think about them, they don't feel
deep down they might be
irrational.
She wants validation that of course you should be afraid of that.
And also with me.
Yeah.
So I had us bring a list of irrational question mark fears. And then we actually have like an actual fear.
Yeah, hit me with
Okay. So my irrational fear, question mark, my house catching on fire. I think about that a lot.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Things don't really catch fire anymore.
Yeah. You're not
Besides
making
the
me feel
church
better,
next door. But that church was like over 100 years old.
Right. My house is for sure.
More recent than that.
Yeah,
definitely
more recent than that.
You got an inspection when you... Oh, no, you didn't buy it. You're just renting. Maybe
Nope.
you didn't get an inspection.
Yeah. My debit card not ever having enough money. Like when you were in college and you like only had $5 and you didn't know if it was going to decline. Yeah. I'm now an adult. I'm turning 30 this year.
That's what the credit card is for.
Yes, but it's like, even though I looked at the bank account that morning, it's like...
you never know.
Yes.
Okay.
Elevators plummeting. Tower of Terror really has done me...
Not how elevators work. Not
That's
how
what
elevators
I've read
work.
recently.
Yeah, it can't plummet.
But like the Tower of Terror ride has really done me dirty.
Okay.
I just, every time I'm in an elevator, we come in one to come up here to record, and I'm kind of like...
Yeah.
Escalators eating my shoe.
That could happen. Have you been?
Cool, thanks.
Oh,
Thank you.
did you ever go to the old Rangers Stadium?
No.
They have
yeah.
really long escalators there.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you got caught halfway up in that thing, you might take a tumble.
I regret this.
But it's not. You can't even go in there anymore.
So it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
still irrational. Yeah. And then my last irrational fear is not cooking chicken all the way through.
That's that one.
You know, like
it's harder to tell with the red meat. It's much easier to tell.
But I cook dinner every night. Like I'm not a novice.
You have to cut through it, but then because you don't want to, you cooked it and you don't want to cut it into a bunch of pieces sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I hope it's cooked.
To like cheat the system, we just cube chicken breast all the time. You will never eat a full chicken breast at my house.
That's easier, yeah.
Yeah, what about yours?
Crickets.
Oh?
I'm afraid of crickets. They seem gross. They look gross.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You seem like you're not with me. I'm afraid of the dark.
Oh.
Things can jump out at you. I just
can
don't. They could.
Okay.
I'm afraid of water deeper than 6 feet.
You know, I feel like all of these that you've named so far make a lot of sense with things I know about you.
Yeah,
like
not
they're
a great
very on
swimmer.
track for your personality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that one of or more of the Dallas sports teams are going to be bad for a prolonged period of time. And I don't know how I'll emotionally handle that. Like over the last 10 or 15 years, none of the 4 of the major sports teams have had like a real 5 or more years.
I was about to say, what's a long time? Haven't the Cowboys always sucked?
No, they've made they made the playoffs last year. I'm talking about like not even getting close to the playoffs for like 5 years in a row.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid that I'm gonna accidentally screw up my fantasy baseball team somehow.
Oh, that hits home for
because
you.
it's a keeper league, so things can last for forever. So I've done some really bad trades in the past, and you look
but
back.
You're still there.
Yeah, I'm gonna win this season. The season's almost over.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that right now.
Yeah.
But it is something that it's an irrational fear of mine that I'm just gonna be like, why did I think that was smart?
Yeah.
And now I'm screwed for the next 5 years of my life. Because really the plot, like how well my fantasy team is doing is like how well my life is going. I think people can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. But so what's your like actual fear?
My actual fear, so I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, which is like you want to do good and be seen as doing good and make things kind of perfectionist-y a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that like I'm actually just bad at it. Or like bad at my job. Or like bad at being a good person.
Yeah.
You know, if we're getting a little therapy, like why did I become a pastor? Because I needed the affirmation that people see I'm a good person. Because of course, if you're a pastor, you must be a good person.
Wow, you really you laid it all
I'm
out there.
afraid that people are just gonna find out I'm not.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
You are a good pastor.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna lay a little bit of it out there. I'm afraid of like how much of my family's life I'm missing since I live in Texas and they live in North Carolina.
Yeah.
If I think about that too hard, I'll start crying.
Yes.
So, anyway, I think we've been very serious for a very long time. Let's show them what we giggled at this week.
Yes. What made us giggle?
Yeah.
That's my giggling noise.
Also, I used to think that iron that's in cereal was iron.
It is.
Is it?
Yes, Joey.
Metal?
Yes, Joey.
Is it really?
Yes, Joey.
No, time out.
Yes, Joey. That's why if
We're
you
eating
cook
metal? You can't eat metal.
Yes, Joey. Yes.
What?
That's why if you cook in a cast iron skillet or something, it enriches the food in iron.
Wait, no. Iron is like iron, bro? Like pumping iron?
Yes, Joey.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I'm very confused by this.
It's okay.
Iron is iron? Iron is dead ass iron.
Yes, dude.
But is it hard normally? Like what is it?
Joey, it's iron. It's like there's no way.
What's its form?
Iron.
Solid, liquid, gas, plasma.
Iron.
No.
Joey.
Solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Those are the forms.
I hope this gets picked up by one of those like hyper like Instagram like scientists that are just like, let's break this down a minute. And then
Okay, let me go long on fear for a bit. If you hang around Christians long enough, you might hear the claim that the Bible says, do not be afraid about 365 times, like it's once for every day of the year. But like a lot of fun facts, this one isn't true Apparently, the folks spreading this nugget use the same logic as one of our esteemed vice presidential candidates who recently said, it's okay to create stories as long as they get people's attentions. Well, creating stories, of course, is a polite way of saying lying. In my preferred translation of the Bible, the phrase don't be afraid shows up 102 times, which is still a lot of times. That could be the fun fact right there. And people bring up how often the Bible says not to fear because it's an easy and simplistic response to whenever someone's feeling anxious. I remember back in college one time, one of my friends was feeling particularly stressed, so I went on her computer and I pulled up the Bible passage where Jesus talks about how God takes care of the birds and the flowers, and so surely God's going to take care of us. And then I left the tab open so that she would find it later on her computer. Now, she was super religious, so this isn't quite as weird as it sounds, but it didn't really work. A few years later, her mental health got worse. She had to drop out of college and move back home. So it's safe to say that my slapdash Bible study did not fix all of her problems. And of course, the truth is telling people not to worry doesn't work because there's a lot in life to be legitimately worried about. You've got, personal stuff like your health or your finances, the well-being of your loved ones. And then you've got big picture stuff like climate change, racial and gender inequality, global unrest, the upcoming elections. Our brains are hardwired to fear change because change brings uncertainty, and with it, the potential for harm. But in our globally connected world, the problem is change is constant. So we have to adopt some practices that put our brains at ease. My first bit of advice is don't catastrophize. I heard that word once. In other words, it means just keep things in perspective. When we're facing an uncertain future, our minds tend to jump to the worst case scenarios. As early humans, that sort of thinking is what helped us survive. But more often than not, the worst outcome isn't the most likely outcome. So we have to be intentional about grounding our expectations. It takes effort to guide your thoughts back towards reasonableness once you've strayed too far afield. The fact that you're still here watching this video right now means that you've made it through every adverse situation you've ever faced. So the odds are that you're probably going to make it through the next one too. Once you've helped to get your fears more on a rational side of your brain, my next recommendation is to focus on what you have the power to change. So if it's a personal issue, you can make a plan for how to solve it, who you need to talk to, and what you need to say. And if you're worried about something big like climate change or social justice, you can look for ways to be part of the solution, like volunteering for nonprofits or donating to groups who work to make a difference, making sure you and your friends get out to vote. Whether it's something big or small, nothing is going to change until somebody does something about it. I kind of think of it like Newton's first law. An object in motion will stay in motion unless it's acted upon. In other words, the status quo isn't going to change by itself. It will keep being the status quo. But if you can be the force that sparks action, I say take that chance. Of course, there are plenty of things that we can't change, right? People's personalities are pretty hardwired, and one conversation isn't going to make someone suddenly easier to get along with. If you're afraid of losing your job, right, there's only so much you can do that affects the financial viability of your entire company. And it's virtually impossible to control whether someone you love gets in an accident or falls ill. And when it comes to national issues, you're one of 300 million people. So there's honestly not much you can do to change anything. And part of being a well-adjusted human, in my opinion, is learning that bad things happen. And no matter how much fear, worry, or anxiety you invest in trying to stop them. All you can do is use your fear to inspire you to change what you can. And then, as Marie Kondo might say, thank your fear and let it go because it doesn't serve you anymore. What I'm saying is fear has its place. It's good sometimes. Because if we weren't afraid of bad things happening, we'd take careless risks. And if I'm being honest, if I wasn't afraid of anything, I'd probably never show up to work anymore. A healthy dose of fear motivates us to plan for the future instead of living exclusively in the present. But once that fear is unproductive, once it's gone too far, you have to take a deep breath and send that fear on its way.
Wow. One, we're changing the show, so I am sitting here listening to you in real time and responding in real time, which I think is very cool. But two, you said don't catastrophize your fear and to keep things in perspective. So over the last month, we've had multiple friends share with us that they're pregnant, which is very exciting. But the theme is the first thing I thought of was can I get back in my car? Can I go to the grocery store by myself? They're being introduced to this new fear. And one of my friends, after they shared with us and then shared those fears, they said to me, I have to stop. I will make myself crazy for the next 18 years that this kid lives in my house if I start this now.
If you're always thinking about the worst case scenario.
Yeah. And
our brain is, my point is, our brain is naturally wired to do that. It's a normal human behavior to be okay, worst case scenario, let me plan for all the risks.
Yeah.
But you drive yourself crazy.
Yes. And I just appreciated them saying that so much because then they were you know what? I'm really grateful that I get to love this child and I get to raise this child. And I will be attuned to their safety and I want to watch them live life. I can't protect them from everything. And so I just thought that they did a really good job kind of packaging what you just told us is all right, I have this fear. It feels irrational. It also doesn't. It feels very real. I can't catastrophize it. Also, I'm going to thank my brain for thinking through this. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I need to be present. Yeah.
You have to give yourself the grace to be it's not stupid that I had these fears. Thank you for what I said. Thank you for inspiring me to take action on the things I do need to take action.
Yes.
But once you've realized you've done everything you can do, then you say, just push it on its way.
Yeah. I think I'd like for our friends this week to have a little homework.
Yeah.
If you will. I want them to be able to acknowledge this week their catastrophic fear.
Yeah.
What is the fear that is actually not serving you well?
Yeah, that you're blowing out of proportion.
Yeah, and I would almost what would writing them down be helpful?
Writing it down. You could leave it in a comment.
You could leave it. If you're feeling very safe and brave, you can leave it in a comment.
This is a safe space.
It is a safe space. But this week, do us a favor. Think about your fear. Yeah. Think about what's helpful that moves you to action, and then write down the things that aren't helpful and get them out of your brain for a minute.
I think that's a great takeaway.
I think so too. You know what? I feel much better.
You feel all your fears are gone?
All of my fears are gone. Elevators, here I come.
So I should be a pastor is what you're saying, and that I'm good at my job and that I don't need to be afraid of that?
I think so.
That tie-in back to the beginning.
Wow. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us this week. We can't wait to be with you next week talking about something else.
Adios.